Steph Curry didn't even make the playoffs. Kevin Durant's gone. LeBron James gone.
I don't want to make excuses for anything. We just got to be a better ball club moving forward.
I just want to win. And whatever that means, I want to win.
At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
The NBA is famously marked by players from generation to generation. Fans were captured by Magic and Bird in the 80s, the 90s engraved with the heroic status of Michael Jordan. The 2000s captured the beginning of the modern era, with the likes of Kobe and Duncan, continuing through to the 2010s with today's legends. LeBron, KD and Steph come to mind specifically. Yet all eras come to an end and ours more than ever is collapsing in front of us. For the first time in 20 years, not one of KD, Steph or LeBron will partake in the second round. Those that once captivated the NBA's postseason have been seamlessly replaced by the new generation. In saying that, the league's in good hands. Ant, Tatum, Luka, and we know Wemby will get there at some point, paint a bright future for the NBA. But there's just something about seeing those that you become so accustomed to seeing have success no longer reach such highs. So I want to talk about what led up to this point for each player and what they have each left to give the NBA, because I think it may not be as over as you think. In their recent 4-1 loss to Denver, despite heartbreaking losses to 2 Jamal Murray game winners, LeBron showed the world he still had it. Averages of 28, 6 and 9 captivated a strong series for the King. On this season, shooting a career best 41% from 3, mitigating some of the losses of athleticism at the rim with efficient shot making behind the arc, perhaps extending his career by a year or 2 as a result. But as a whole, for a team coming off a Western Conference appearance and who were seamlessly happy with the roster continuity from the previous season, it was a season of up and downs and ultimately failure. It all started when the team lost 10 out of 13 games after the in-season tournament, using 6 starting lineups, benching the likes of Reeves and Russell, whilst granting leashes to the likes of Reddish and Taurean Prince, who seamlessly didn't deserve it. And so after moving Hachimura into the starting lineup, the Lakers closed the regular season 19-6 on a 62-win pace, posting the league's 3rd best offense over that stretch. That success, however impressive, was seen by some as an indictment of Ham's rotation choices that had come before it. And what if the Lakers simply played their 5 best players on the court to start since game 1 of the NBA season? So now the Lakers and LeBron face franchise-defining moves. LeBron himself enters the offseason at age 39, with a player option to opt in or out of LA. Insiders around the league seem to believe LeBron has 1 to 2 years left in the league, and he's made it well clear he wants to play with Bronny, a final chapter in a historic career.
Who do you want to play with?
Bronny is number 1 on my fucking list.
But between playing with Bronny or achieving postseason success, LeBron is faced with tough decisions. Decisions made increasingly tough after Bronny announced he'll test the NBA draft waters whilst also entering the NCAA transfer portal. Whilst ultimately I think Bronny will return to college, testing NBA draft waters to legally talk to GMs, which happens all the time for draft prospects that want to know what they need to improve on to get drafted higher. In this case, LeBron controls his own destiny for the next year, assuming Bronny opts out of the draft and he doesn't have to go chasing after him. Yet as it stands, Darvin Ham's unlikely to continue as head coach, so head coach questions and a lackluster roster could convince LeBron to a move elsewhere. But there's no doubt the Lakers will do absolutely everything to keep LeBron in LA. A franchise buoyed in a rich history of stars have 2 months to convince the ultimate star of his stay. He's not the problem here, declared a Laker official. Instead, still a part of the solution in LA. But do the Lakers have enough room for change, seeing as they must prove their dedication to James before his June 29th option date? The core is largely under contract, minus D'Angelo, who will likely hit free agency. So it leaves the Lakers with tradable contracts like Reeves and Hachimura, both still young and filling out their potential, as well as 3 first-round picks to trade. In this way, I think LA will do what they know best and throw the kitchen sink at one last run with LeBron and AD. A young guard seems most likely for LA. One of Trae Young or DeJounte Murray are going to get dealt, and either or could complement LeBron to take some of the ball handling duty off of him at 39 years old. But if there's any chance the Lakers can get Donovan Mitchell, who without a run with the Cavs is unlikely to extend, he's the home run pickup for LA. His elite shot creation and ball handling would bode well for LA in the present and the future. He's also proven to work off the ball as well, perhaps more so than the likes of Trae. But outside of LA, well, LeBron is going to command 50 mil plus, and the only 2 teams who can give him that money right now, Philly and the Pistons. But OKC could make a move, boasting 35 mil of free cap and potential to move some pieces to get to that 50 mil. Pairing the young and aggressively rising core with the most experienced NBA player of all time, well, it's a match made in heaven. The young talent could take the load off LeBron in the regular season as he eases his way for a playoff run. And we know they have all the draft capital in the world to go get Bronny in this year or next year's draft. But regardless, LeBron has a max of 2 years left, and we all want to see him fight at the top of the NBA one last time. Not even making it to the playoffs this year was Steph Curry, who even more so than the Lakers experienced a season of severe twists. The team struggled off-rip from inconsistencies in lineups with Draymond suspensions and various injuries. The likes of Clay and Wiggins took steps back, often struggling to find their rhythm in the Golden State system, whilst young players like Pods, Trace, and especially Kuminga took progressive steps, yet leaving the team short in a play-in loss as a 10 seed. But Curry's standard of play was still excellent. His averages of 23, 5 and 5 in the final 20 games of the season could suggest otherwise, but considering a couple of ankle injuries just before and his strong start to the year, there's no doubt he's still got plenty of elite play left in him. If you remember back to the start of the year, 11 games in, Steph was the only player on the Warriors to score 20 points or more, where every other team in the NBA had on average 4 players who had done so. He was the only one, and reaffirming his still present talent with his desires, we know he won't be satisfied with anything but another run at a ring.
Right after the game, in the Kings locker room, I said, I love you, bro. It's like, I love you too, we ain't done. You right.
We ain't done yet. Telling words from Steph, but words that are gonna take some work from the front office to come true. Clearer than ever, Steph needs an all-star caliber player alongside him. Perhaps no more able to carry the entire workload as he did most recently in their 2022 championship run. For the Warriors, their past success ultimately fueled their current demise. The team officially at crossroads as a result. Their reluctance to utilise young pieces to go all in on one last ring with Steph has cost them 2 years of Steph's prime. The 2022 championship season convincing them that they could make it work with their core of players. We know Steph Curry is untouchable, so the team won't ever be bad enough to rebuild. But after back-to-back seasons of severe postseason shortcomings, the two timelines of the core three and the young talent aren't going to win a ring together. So it leaves the Warriors with little choice. Run it back, bringing back the regressing core, or invest in some big talent. The likes of Clay, Wiggins and CP3 look unattractive targets, but paired with young talent, most likely Kuminga, who's upside the best of the young crop, could be paired to facilitate a trade that aims to solve the Warriors' pressing needs for athleticism, shooting and on-ball defense. The futility of the Phoenix Suns, the struggles of the LA Lakers and Warriors accentuate an NBA that no longer centers around experience or star power, more so athleticism, shooting, flexibility of style and chemistry. Experience is still important, don't get it twisted, but whatever advantage the Warriors had in that department is lessening year by year after the best teams accrue more in this postseason. Talking trade targets specifically, well, this is where it gets ugly for Steph and the Warriors. To me, a player like Brandon Ingram is most reasonable. Coming off a horrendous playoff series, I know, he has proven his ability to play make and most importantly get his own shot. Still young, the Warriors have reason to believe the 6'8" forward has untapped potential that could be harvested, in a similar vein to the difference maker Andrew Wiggins became. But the Warriors would have to make a trade for him, and like the Suns, give up significant draft capital and young talent to acquire a largely unproven postseason player in Ingram, who I'm not sure takes the team from a 10 seed to contender. But there's also the unthinkable option. Well, for the Warriors, maybe a genuinely realistic option. LeBron James, who was targeted by the Warriors at the trade deadline at the start of the year. Trading young talents for the oldest player in the league in a league built on athleticism is dumb, let's be real. But no fan in the world would vote against it. A game of 2K in real life. It would likely entail a sign-in trade with Wiggins and CP3 as well as some draft capital, as the Warriors can't afford him in free agency. And after all,
Steph Curry's the one that I want to play with, for sure.
the seamlessly toughest choice of the lot remains in Clay's pending free agency. The team values retaining the big three, but Clay would likely command big money from playoff teams like the Magic and Sixers. The Warriors' choice to match it. Let him walk or agree with Clay on a pay cut. Do the benefits of preserving a Golden State legend outweigh those of salary cap flexibility? 2 postseason shortcomings for Klay and a 0-point performance in the play-in signify that his time in Golden State might be over.
Keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. That's the definition of insanity, right?
And so Steph's era in contention looks seemingly bleaker than that of LeBron's, who does not have the connection Steph has with the Bay, and so is willing to leverage a move away from LA to improve on a roster that is already better than Golden State's. The future is bleak in San Francisco for Steph, and if his 2022 championship run was his last appearance at the highest stage, it was a hell of a way to go out. With 2 finals MVPs and averaging 25 points for 16 seasons, Kevin Durant still lies unproven to many. Yet those people simply remain disillusioned by their hate for Durant. And Durant's chances of finding success post his Warriors tenure are quickly fading. But fortunately for him, out of the 3, Durant arguably showed the smallest signs of slowing down. His game ever smooth, 17 seasons of experience allowing him to effortlessly find his spots on the court, still shooting a ridiculous 51.8% from the mid-range. Yet alarming problems lie in the construction of the Phoenix Suns. Despite a year and a half in Phoenix, Durant has persistent issues with the offense, feeling that he was being relegated to the corner far too often and not having the proper designs to play to his strengths, as the offense was built around pick and rolls, which is not necessarily Durant's strong point. The team as a whole struggled with their urgency. They would look great one night, disinterested the next. Most notably in the playoffs, down in the series, they played with no fire. Coupling with it, the team had seemingly thrown 3 stars into an offense expecting it to click, but without a true point guard, leaving Beal and Booker to handle the ball, and with a desperate need of some defense on the wings or center position. Yet more so than the Lakers and even the Warriors, the Suns had invested their entire future into this core, one that was now expensive and restrictive. Beal had a no-trade clause, not that anyone wants the $160 million left on his contract, and combined with Durant and Booker, the $150 million owed to the Big 3 next year is more than 14 teams' total payroll in 2024-25. The Suns are quite simply pinned, so outside of the unlikely scenario of breaking up their high-priced veterans, the options to fill out the supporting cast include this year's first-round pick, re-signing O'Neal, and once again signing a slew of players to the veterans minimum exception. Not a deal for a team eager for some impactful rotational pieces. Yet as the world famously knows, Durant is not shy to request a trade out. So whilst my gut says he stays it out in Phoenix for at least another year, the potential for chaos is high should KD decide this summer it's time to move on. As I keep mentioning, the cap-friendly teams remain best options. Of course, OKC the pick of the lot with plenty of draft capital to offer the Suns, who don't have a first round pick from 2025 to 2030, who with KD, OKC would surely punch themselves as title favourites. Philadelphia would also be fun alongside Embiid and Maxey, but we might be dreaming here. I also wouldn't rule out the Suns in getting it together. No doubt they'll have to hit in the draft to find an NBA ready talent like Pods or Jaime Jaquez, and also hit in the veteran market. But if they can, Durant, Booker and Beal are too talented to not find their own rhythm amongst themselves offensively. Where the likes of the Warriors and Lakers at some points, they've looked like a top 5 team numbers wise in stretches. But whether they can do it consistently over a season remains the question. As the NBA landscape shifts and the torch passes to a new generation, the future of LeBron, KD, Steph hang in the balance, each facing their own pivotal crossroads as a final postseason looms at the air. But amidst uncertainty, one thing remains clear: the undeniable mark they've left on the league, which will echo through the records of basketball history, defining an era of greatness that will forever be cherished and celebrated, even if we've seen the end of it.